Okay, students, what we're going to have here is we're going to try to help you to see several different things you can do with these parallelograms. One thing I want you to notice is properties that are true of a parallelogram. We're looking for things that are equal, so I'm going to make a list here of things that are equal, and then I'm going to make a list of things that add on the other side. So this is going to be the list of things that are equal, and on the other side I'm going to make a list of things that add. So when I go for my things that are equal list, first thing I need to know about a parallelogram is that the opposite sides are equal. So if I'm going to just label this to make it easier to talk about, A, B, C, D. Now the order of those vertices does matter. B does have to come between A and C. So it's true that side AB is equal to side CD, and this is true for any parallelogram. It is also true that side AD is equal to BC. And quite frankly, you should be able to tell by looking at these that these are pretty much equal. So AB is equal to CD, AB is equal to CD, and AD is equal to BC. The opposite sides are equal. It's also true that you can tell just looking at it, A looks like it's equal to C. Well, that is also true. Angle A, the angle there, is equal to the angle at C. And another thing that is equal is angle B is also equal to angle D. The angles that are across from each other are equal. And the final thing that has to be equal for all parallelograms is it is true that the diagonals do not have to be the same length, but they do have to cut each other in half. So on the things that are equal, it's also true that DE, that half of this long diagonal, is equal to EB, the other half. And for all parallelograms, it's also true that AE, this half, is equal to EC, the other half. So those are things that you know are equal for any parallelogram. Now, if I'm going for things that add, the big one that adds is if I have the angles that are next to each other, like angle A plus angle B, since that's a little big obtuse angle at A and a little acute angle at angle B. Those two add up to be 180. Another 180 degrees. Another thing that adds together is you can say angle B also adds to angle C, which is 180 degrees. And if I wanted to, I could keep going with this all the way around my parallelogram. It would also be true that C plus D would be 180 and D plus A is 180. The angles, one is acute, one is obtuse, and since they're in a parallelogram with parallel lines around, the acute plus the obtuse will equal 180 degrees. Now the other thing that is kind of a carryover, other things that does add in a parallelogram, is it is true that I can add the two halves of my diagonal to get the whole half. So I could take AE, that half of its diagonal, plus EC, the other half, and that would have to equal AC. That's just basic segment addition, that if I have two pieces of a segment, this piece here, let me mark it in red for you, AE, and I add it to this piece here, EC, it will equal the entire segment from A to C. So that means one other thing that's true is I would also be able to say that DE plus EB, let me get myself out of the way, should be equal to DB. The two halves of the other diagonal are also equal. Those are the things that have to add up in a parallelogram, no matter what kind it is, and those are the things that have to be equal no matter what kind it is.